All right, just going live here, whatever, because I don't know, frustration and shit. It just gets to be really overwhelming. I don't know how long I'll be on here this time or go around or whatever, so I can't really tell you. Today's date here is August 18th, which would be a Tuesday, 2026. But my frustration it just keeps building and building and building with every damn time that you wake up and you think, you know what, I'm just not going to pay attention to anything or whatever. But it don't matter. You can't run from it. You can't escape from it. You can't do anything because, well, I'll take me a little bit of time and I'll do things that, um, I'll be honest with you, not that I have to get done, but I just needed a break because what do you do when you're talking to the cowardly pieces of dog shit out here, and even when you show them the truth, you know, not because it's your truth, not because it's what you know, but you just are trying to get them to realize for themselves what in fact the fact of the truth is, you know. And it's just one thing right after the other, you know. I mean, but whenever I had to go out to the store, or rather I should say when I went out to the store to pick up, certain things or whatever, I'm working on a sign right now, so I needed some paint or something. I don't remember what it was. And I'll be honest with you, the whole time that I'm working on whatever it is that I'm doing, my focus is not on what I am actually doing. The focus is clearly on the demonic dumbasses that want to impose their demonic shit on me, on you, and on the children. You see, if they were just like, just, I don't know, running their mouths or something behind closed doors or something like that to each other, and they each wanted to jerk each other off, or if they wanted to worship monkeys or something like that behind closed doors, and it's not interfering anybody that don't want to be a part of that, that's one thing. But if you have your so-called fucking religion that says that you're going to harm another because they don't want anything to do with your piece of shit cult or religion, or your belief, or what you think, or what you want, or whatever it is, you're my enemy, and I don't give a flying shit who you are. Everybody keeps stepping over their boundaries because they think that they have a right to do as thou wilt, you know. And again, see, this is how it happens. If you say, well, somebody wants to worship the devil, that's okay, let them do that behind closed doors as long as they don't bother anybody. But here's the problem. They have showed us clearly that they don't want to stay behind closed doors. They don't want to go. And here's the thing. I say behind closed doors, but what did that actually mean? Well, let's look at the original meaning of that, okay? I don't mean like you need to go hide yourself. I'm saying you can go and purchase property or whatever, which is another long thing, actual your property, and then you on your land, you can gather however many that you want to and go over there. But it's whenever you start saying, well, you don't have a right to buy land because you're not the same as we are, or and here's the thing, let's be clear, they're not even talking about just land, they're talking about your life, they're talking about your children's life, and also, bottom line is this: ultimately, I don't care what quote unquote religion that you're wanting to pick that you have, if it's telling you to harm another in any way, like your child sacrifice or whatever it is, that it doesn't matter. It all goes back. You can funnel it all back. And I don't care if it's a freaking demonic Jew or Muslim or whatever. I don't care what it is. If your religion says, that somebody else has to die because they're not the same as you, you got to go. You got to go. And, I've heard Christians, they say, well, we're not supposed to kill. We're not to, do it. We're supposed to love one another and everything. Bullshit. I call you a coward. You're no Christian at all. So, you know what? Get on your fake-ass demonic pony there and have fun riding off into the sunset, Because that's what you think you're going to do. I've talked to so many out there now. I don't approach them. They come to me or they speak to me. They start talking and asking questions or whatever. Then whenever I give them the answer, I'm going to tell you something. No way, shape, or form am I ever saying that I am or whatever. So that's just to clarify in case some monkeys can't have a better understanding of what I'm saying when I say this, okay? I'm not saying anything like I am, but I can see how that when our Lord and Savior came down here, Jesus, Yeshua, whatever you want to call him, it's the Father's Son, okay? So let's just be clear about that, okay? So the reason why we would call him the right name is because we don't want to offend him. Okay, understood, got that. All right. So Jesus, because I speak English, and I didn't hear Yeshua growing up, but I understand Yeshua because that's what he was called. Okay, but we're talking about the same exact God, the one and only God. Okay, see, he came down and he didn't go up to him and say, look, I'm going to absolutely murder any of the individuals here that don't go along with what I say. Just so you know that up front, that's what I'm going to do. He didn't say that. He didn't say that. Matter of fact, he let their own laws and he let their own words speak for him most of the time, or not speak for him, but speak to them, themselves. He just turned it right around and said, here you go. Whatever, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, Well, you know what? How many ever come up with the conclusion of, and I'm asking all the preachers and all the ones that are claiming that they know God, and they're the ones that's sitting back saying, well, it's the end of time. It's the way it is. We just got to go. Well, okay, if we know that it says that you got to go, then you're going to go anyway. But I'm asking anybody, have you ever heard anybody ever say this? And I'll guarantee you, no is the answer. When it said, give to Caesar what is Caesar's. Who ever thought to say the actual truth, which is nothing except for judgment? That's the only thing that belonged to Caesar. And it's the same thing, the only thing that belongs to you or I. God give us free will that we may choose what we want to. But there's rules and there's regulations and there's laws that goes along with that. To the point where he, our Father who is in heaven, with his own finger, wrote on stone so that you and I may have the moral law right here on earth. It wasn't enough that he gave, the Garden of Eden. That wasn't enough. Now it was enough, absolutely. But it wasn't enough for somebody, that thought that they was better, or they knew more, or that there was, they had to take over things and try to control it, make it better. Not listen to authority over you. Now that's a word that I can't stand, authority, unless you're talking about God's authority. Because whenever He has authority over us, what's it for? It's because He loves you and He wants the best for you. Even though you don't know what the best thing is for you. And the reason why you don't know that is because you still think that you're controlling you and thinking with this body. Now, I've heard enough shit, I'm telling you, about this penis gland and everything else that everybody claims that they have in their head, and all your vibration ain't the right way, and all you're sending out the wrong vibes, and they're gonna, man, what a bunch of bullshit. You know what? I'm telling you what, I clearly see so many things that the Bible has said, to us now. I mean, now I really, really have a clear understanding of it, and the one I'm thinking of is where it says, if you love this life, you're going to lose it in heaven. You won't have one in heaven. And if you hate this life, you will surely gain it in heaven. Now there's a certain things that goes along with that, absolutely, like you got to be saved, believe that Jesus is real, that He came down, that He died, that He rose, and then eventually ascended back up to the Father. Repent and get baptized, of course, all these things, but those things should be just a given whenever you you want to be baptized and stuff. But that's a whole different story, other than and a fact of what I'm trying to get across here. And you know what? All of this, I don't care if you listen. I don't care who you are here. I'm not behind the camera today. I'm in front of it. And just like all the way along, this has always been about self-documentation. And I started getting away from that. Because I started wanting to read what different individuals was saying and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. I'm thankful, and I love talking to each and every one. As long as they have if you have the understanding, the realization, the knowledge, the know, the same feeling that you don't want to harm somebody else, and but what are we dealing with here? We're dealing with Satan. Clear and simple. It doesn't matter what religion, and I'm telling you, Muslim or whatever it happens to be, if it's telling you somebody else, whether you're a goyim or whatever the other ones might, call, Gentiles or somebody else other than themselves, you're an enemy, and you're demonic, and you need to switch your line of thinking and realize that we are all trying to survive on a very, very demonic planet. And why is that? Is it that the planet itself is so mean to us? I mean, that there's life, that there's water, fresh water, to drink, that there's beautiful oceans to encounter where you can walk along the beach and pick up shells, make necklaces, or you can make stuff to cook with or something out of those shells, that it provides food for you, that we have abilities to, fly from one part of this country to another. All of the energy and stuff that had been given to us, and I'm not talking about your electricity, that's a whole nother thing or whatever, but it's included. But look at the sun. You know, you get up in the morning. You don't need an alarm clock. You know what? How many times have you just stopped and thought, I'm going to do away with the phones. I'm not going to even have a clock or a watch or anything. I am just going to just for 1 week, just sleep until I want to wake up. Now, I think it should be for the rest of your life. Throw your clocks away. Throw the calendars away. Because they've all been corrupted. You always have that one turd in the punch bowl or whatever. But see, here's the thing about turds in a punch bowl. And you know, I never could stand that when somebody'd say, well, it's a turd in a punch bowl. But you know, it really does apply here because we're talking about nasty stuff, right? You have people enjoying themselves, you know. They're all just visiting and hanging out and, you know, kids doing their thing, you know. And then you go over to enjoy a nice refreshment or something like that. And somebody, listen to what I'm telling you, the demonic pieces of garbage, the demons, could not stand that somehow because they didn't know how to fit in. They didn't know how to belong, nor did they want to. You see, it's one thing if you don't know how. But you have to be smart enough to say, hey, you know what? I don't know how to do that. But I want to do that. Can you show me or will you help me? You have to have that ability, you know. Unfortunately, you know, the same idiot demon that put that turd in the punch bowl that wanted to ruin everything, you know, and be noticed or whatever. Although most of the time they're in the background, you know, giggling, and they never show themselves, do they? Because they hate the truth, they hate the light. They don't want to be punished, but they wanted attention, right? But see, they don't know how to get the right kind of attention. They don't know how to do it. But we also have to be aware that there are those that don't just put turds in punch bowls. I'm talking about turds now. And please have a clear understanding that I am talking about demons. So calling them turds is actually being mean to a turd, and I don't mean to do that. I would never want to offend a good turd, because these demons want to put poison in our drinks. Would they do it? Well, you're an idiot if you don't already know it and see it. Go to your damn... I mean, come on. Any of us out here that has just been trying to live a decent life, you know, that didn't want into the whole politic thing, you know, which is a mistake, you know. But we thought, well, we'll let somebody else do it. Well, what we did is we let the devil start running things. And when the devil starts running things, he puts poison in our water. Our water's poison, you know. But they're blatantly now, I mean, out in the open, all of these demonic bastards are just blatantly telling us that they want to kill us, that we're the problem childs, and so on and so forth. The reason for this right here, what really made me get on here, is that, you know, they're stepping by the whole flock camera things or whatever, but that might have just been a ruse anyway. But they got a whole nother new one coming now, to where it's not just on a pole with a little camera pointed at you. Oh no, these here, they're going to be putting in the street lamps, you know, with bigger and badder cameras to come at you. You know, that's just not a household that you want to have. You know, it's just not a household that you want to have. You know, do you want your kids under surveillance from the time? Because I really want to ask you, Do you want your kids? And then at the same time, when you're thinking about this, think about yourself. When you wake up, okay, do you really want somebody else looking at your child getting up out of bed or yourself getting up out of bed? Do you really want somebody watching them go into the bathroom? Do you want somebody watching you go into the bathroom? And all throughout the day. Now we're talking about in your home, okay? But what about when you step outside, okay? Where's your boundary at for your kids then? You're good with having a camera on them all the time or whatever? Why? Why would you consider the outside to be any different than your home? Because, in this country, when, I was coming up, that's how I felt about it. I really did. I thought, well, if I go out and, I'm doing something, speeding a little fast or something like that, ooh, boy, don't speed too fast, And it's quite ironic, isn't it? Because, they say things like, don't speed, obey the law, we're going to put cameras there so you obey the law. But then you can watch things like Tesla, how they say, well, you can do 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, right? Well, that's not breaking the law, is it? Well, what if you're in a 25-mile-an-hour zone? And here's what I would ask. Why is it that if you'd flip the script, and this has been done, there's been some amazing, brilliant minds out there, that they actually went and found the hidden corporate offices and stuff of like the flock cameras and stuff like that, and they actually went and put cameras in their face. And you can go look at the videos yourself. Did they like it? Hell no. No. Well, they couldn't stand that. Why are you pointing a camera at us? But you can go watch that whole thing. Even their CEO of one place or whatever, he called the cops and everything else. Why wouldn't you call the cops? Because the cops aren't yours. They are the enemy, and you better realize that. Now, I'm going to show you something here real quick. I had plans on calling these demonic bastards at 202-224-3121, which is the Washington switchboard. I've done it before here. I should have already had it done today, but I'll be honest with you, it's really, really super hard to, to keep doing things, to keep your house in order, like plumbing and different things like that you have to take care of, But you have to do whatever it is that you got to do, right? You got to get by. So anyway, I've got a video here, and I'm going to play it for you. And I think I will come behind the thing there, but I want to let you watch this for yourself here, and then we can see this is definitely the problem that we have. This is a guy that's the enemy, and he's too stupid to even realize that he is. But I want you to hear him place a bounty on your head and my head and we the people's head when he is supposed to be working for we the people. This is what I'm telling you. See, when you say that, it's a twisted mind screw game, because when you say, well, they're supposed to work for we the people. Well, supposed to, you need, forget about that shit. I know they're supposed to, but they clearly do not. They clearly do not. I was watching where they was having a protest, and they was protesting against ICE, as they should be. Because why do we need ICE and FBI and CIA and all this bullshit? Well, it's because it is a huge shell game of confuse you and I, so that we keep tracking with our eyeballs and our souls. We keep tracking, trying to make sense of it, and you can't keep your eyes on all of it. You can't do it. Do you know how many government agencies there are? Do you know that they have government agencies that's not even on the book, that's not even listed, that you don't even know about, that you can't know about? And that's another thing. Like when it comes to Antarctica and these other places or whatever, where if we're free, how come we can't travel there? You know. And hold on just a minute. I'll be right back with you. I'm gonna play a video behind the camera here just a second. All right, now sorry about that. I just had to step away for a second, but I want to show you something. I don't know who's here or anything else, but this here is a sheriff, supposedly.
Hey, this is Sheriff Station Guard here at Lumpkin County Sheriff's Office, and this is one of our flock cameras that was vandalized here at Lumpkin County. This flock camera was actually placed at our Yehuda Creek Park and Rec. And what I would like the person to know that did this camera was set to keep us alerted for sex offenders that possibly go into our park, that children are there. So I hope you're happy with this. It was to keep our kids safe. That's what this is about.
Anybody believe that
you
shit?
went and done this. I want you to know I'm offering a $1,000 reward for information that will lead to an arrest to who done this. And to all you people out there about the flock cameras that say, oh, they're watching us, or, they control our every move. Well, this is proof. We had to look for this and find it in the woods. It's not watching you. It's not videoing you. There is nothing.
He just lied to you.
That does anything other than snap a screenshot of a tag, and then it alerts us if a sex offender is in our park that's not supposed to be by law. That's what it was set for.
He's a liar.
So I hope you're happy for yourself that what you've done is put our park where it's possible sex offenders can come in and out of the area that this one was placed. We will be placing another one there.
See, there's your threat. He just threatened you.
That we will have to buy another camera to replace. And this one that I replaced with, it will have video capabilities where if it is tampered with, it will video to hopefully get the person that damages it.
It will hopefully.
Video the person that does this type of stuff to government items. This was to keep people safe. That's what this is for. So as I said, anybody that has information that will lead to an arrest for who did this, please give us a call here at the Lumpkin County Sheriff's Office.
You hear that? Now, I played that because what he just did is he just placed a bounty on we the people's heads. All right? We the people do not want these flock cameras or whatever they're called, see? They even play that twisted mind game, too. They say, oh, well, we're going to do away with flock. And the whole time they know that they're making a deal with another brand or something, which there's another one now that's even badder and worse than the flock, because they're going to put them in the street lamps. And, when I say they're going to, I mean they're going to. They already have showed us that they don't care what we the people want. But you can see the way that the people really feel, because, and here's what I'm going to tell every one of you, okay? And like I said, this self-documentation, you don't have to hear it. You can turn away. You can flip to the next, go watch somebody jumping off a roof into a pile of Jell-O or something and get giggles. But I'm telling you, we need to support anybody who is standing up for or fighting, like actually going and tearing down these flock cameras. there's so many people, they say, oh, I would never suggest that you'd tear down them flock cameras or something. You just watched this piece of shit cop right here. And cops is not a good thing. Cops is actually a word, just like government, that you should understand is you need to replace cop, sheriff, or any of that bullshit with the word enemy. That's your enemy. They don't care about you, and here's what I would challenge any of you. How many of you have ever been pulled over or know your children or something like that? You've been pulled over. And none of the fake bullshit. I don't want the ones whenever you was like, yes, sir, no, sir. And then they kindly, graciously, because they was so wonderful, that they let you go about your way with a warning or something. Okay? There was a reason why that you got a warning. And there's another thing, too. They are judge and jury whenever they have been pulling you over. And you think that there is a court system? You think that this is a jury by your peers? Well, you're a moron, and I mean a total demonic moron if you ever thought that, because that is not what has been taking place. And all one individual has to do, like I was talking to a few others about earlier, is if you go back and you look at the dates, at any date, especially like 1492, Columbus, discovered, this country here, right? And we always was brainwashed with these schools that they had, to teach us what they wanted us to know. Because they didn't say, let your mind go, think about how you can do wonderful things. And, if you make a decision that you want to do this or something, then roll with that. If you see a better way of doing something, then do that. No, instead, they didn't do that. They told you 1 and 1 is 2, okay? And then they would tell you bullshit, like the Germans fought over here and the Germans were so bad and da-da-da, or whatever it happened to be, right? And why did they do that? Brainwashing. Because I don't remember at any time where they said, what do you guys think about this? Or if you hear something, go and dive into it and explore, what you can find out is actual facts, Because when you go back and you look at actual facts of 1492, like where did old Columbus come from? And who was old Columbus? Who did he join? I mean, what was his nationality? What was he? And I'm not talking about the story that was told to you. I mean, what's the truth? What's the fact? What was the deal there? But then if you come on up and if you go to the year of 1871, where if you go back and you look, 1871, they switched out the United States of America for what? U.S. Incorporated. Now, if you ask Google, which is owned by who, I would ask you to always go backwards and look. Like if Google's telling you one thing, or even if I am, then go back and verify the facts. You see if you can track anything back, and see where it goes to. See if it goes someplace different other than what I'm saying. Because that's why I'm here. I don't like that whenever you go back and you look at things and you see that what you was told was nothing but a big ass lie, and who was the lie being told by, but also who was the lie benefiting? Did it benefit you? Did it benefit me? Or the children? And speaking of the children, see, why do we have millions of children disappearing out of the U.S. Incorporated every year? Insane, right? Demonic. Okay, 1871. If you jump on up to 1910, there was a few of these individuals, that likes to put turds in punch bowls or poison or whatever. Okay, see, they can't handle everybody else having a good time. It's sort of like walking up on a game of marbles, a couple sitting underneath the shade tree, and there's already a group of people sitting there. Everybody's just having fun, talking to one another in behind them, and kind of watching the game and stuff, But everything's smooth. But then you have the one demon that shows up that wants to, kick sand over the marbles, or for whatever reason they can't find anybody else that wants to talk to them. So they have to interrupt that, right? They have to be seen, they have to be heard, but they have to disturb somehow, some way. Now, in some cases, maybe it's because they don't know how to fit in. But then there's some cases where they don't want to fit in. They just want to ruin what you have. Period. That's what we're dealing with today. So, and it doesn't make any difference. We're at a place and a time now to where we can't really hold your hand if you don't have a grip on reality, and you don't have enough understanding to latch on to somebody that you can hear that is saying that they don't want any harm to come to you, that they are just fighting an enemy that is trying and have been, are, and will kill children and them and themselves, then, we don't have time for that. We're out of that time. And it's really, it's such a tangled bunch of bullshit. It really is. But if you go back 1910, when they had their Jekyll Island meeting right off of the Georgia coast there or whatever, they got together, and you have to, really think about this. They didn't make it known that they was having a meeting, and didn't have it right in town or something. No, they ran off to their little demonic island, no kidding, where they built their houses and stuff over the burial sites of the indigenous Indians that was there, that would do blood sacrifices and stuff. Look it up for yourself. Not me. That's how I discovered all this stuff or whatever. You have to dig in and go do your research. But they get together. They have their little powwow, their meeting and stuff, and started that was 1910. But then in 1913, all of the stuff that came from that demonic meeting was to do what? Oh yeah, the world banking system. And what does the world banking system do? Well, if you decide to do any damn thing at all, you're going to make them more wealthy. That's what we're talking about. Because if you say, well, I think I'll just go into the store and buy whatever. Well, if you're going to use that car, and you say, well, I don't use a car, I just walk. Well, okay, well, when you go to the refrigerator and you eat that banana before you take off, or that apple, or whatever it is, that's been poisoned now, by the way, DNA changed, and so on and so forth. You see what I mean? Every aspect, you're screwed if you don't do something. We got to do something. So, but then you go to the store, and along the way, or whatever, you say, well, I'm getting kind of tired. I think I'll ride the bus or whatever it is. Okay, well, you're going to buy, you're going to pay taxes, you're going to do whatever. That goes where? To the Rothschild and the rest of the demonic, see? Now, if you have a car, oh my gosh, well, there you go. You just bought in big time to the big screw in there. Or if you bought a house that you can't buy at all, if you go get your deed and you look on your deed, it calls you a tenant, or a resident or some shit. I don't remember exactly what it is. Look it up for yourself. I want you to, and you should. You better. But I'm telling you, the best thing that we can do is go back and look at these dates, okay? 1871, they switched out the United States of America for U.S. Incorporated. In 1913, they put their banking thing in place. And in 1933, what did they do? They then bankrupted the corporation. Now, if you've ever had a business, or if you watch about it or anything like that, or if you just know somebody that's been in the business, if you thought anything at all about business, then you know And especially if you went into the part where, like, well, what happens if I don't make it, so on and so forth. Well, you can bankrupt a business and you can make a shit ton of money bankrupting businesses. There are businesses, demonic businesses, BlackRock and so on and so forth, State Street, Vanguard, that's what they do. They obtain successful businesses. Some of them, that are doing, like millions of dollars a year, and doing really, a good product, an actual good product. But they'll bankrupt it, drain it dry, suck it dry, or whatever, because it'll have the ability to, take out money or whatever, which is not money, but currency. Money is only silver and gold, period. That's it. That's why they call it God's money. But all of this fake paper and all this stuff, or the digital, which is another demonic thing, that they're doing too. But if you I don't want to get too far off on that. I want to look. I want to make sure that we're looking at the dates here, because what I'm pointing out, and I'm realizing that I'm going too far on this, and I don't want to be on here, very much longer or whatever. I just don't. 1871, 1913, and then you have 1933, they bankrupted it. They did that. Their main reason was so that they could take the corporation and they could twist that around and then put in all kinds of regulations and stuff on you and your children. And they did it. People don't want to realize it, but it's a fact. Okay, they say you have a straw man. Okay, and whether you buy into crypto or not buy into cryptocurrency or whatever, if you've heard about that, but it's fake. It's a fake thing. You can't touch it. You can't touch, like there's no such thing as a crypto coin. There's not. Now they can make fake things that that has that you can, but that's not the actual coin, because the actual coin, it doesn't exist. It's a fugazi, whatever you want to call it. It's fake, and that's the illusion and stuff that they want to put on you. But the biggest thing that they wanted to do when they bankrupted the U.S. Incorporated was make you a debt slave. And when people hears that and they say debt slave, what is that? That don't really, that sounds weird, or that don't really register to me. And I don't know how that they do it, but they come up with these words or something, like the Noahide laws that I haven't spoke about yet. They're having their first meeting November 2nd, 2026 this year. Where it literally tells you that they are going to build a council. Okay, have you ever seen, like, on line or something, where you go to where they go into it's supposed to be a meeting for the towns or whatever, a town meeting or something, and then they always have these 4 or 5 or 6 assholes that's always sitting up there in their big plush chairs, with their big desk and stuff out in front of them there, and they got their drinks and everything sitting there. And then you and I, the peasants, the sheeple or whatever, are sitting on these hard-ass chairs, way back from them. And then they always give you this little tiny little thing there, maybe with a little microphone stuck up there. And then when the people, of course, you got to sign up first. You have to make sure you're on the ledger or whatever it is. So you had to sign before time saying that you was going to speak and stuff, for your 3 whole minutes or whatever it is that they allot you to have because, they work for you, right? So they're going to tell you how many minutes and what you, anyway. So you get up there to say your piece or whatever, and they don't like whatever your piece is that you're telling them. What do? Well, they just have all the, the law that works for you, right? That when they pull your ass over or whatever, they're not saying, hey, I didn't know if you was aware of it, but the speed limit here on this section is this, right? Oh, no, I didn't see it. Oh, okay. Well, now that you're aware, okay. Well, you good? You need help or anything? No? Okay. All right. Just want to let you know. Have a good day. Ooh, you think they'd do that shit? Hell no. That'd be a peace officer, wouldn't it? Ain't no such thing as a peace officer. No such thing. We have law enforcement. Whose law? Not our law. Not our law at all. It's the demonic's law. And their law is rip as much from you, including your life, as they possibly can. And they have been, and they are, and they will. The Noahide laws. Look into them. Because they got that council up there, and them judges sitting there. All it takes is one of them to say, off with you head, and it's off with you head. So don't look at the Noahide laws. Don't go, realize that these are the kind of demons that I'm talking about. And this is why I'm talking about them. Because right now we have to do something about them. We have to, you can lay down and you can say, well, I'm frightened and I'm scared, which I have talked to people like that. They said they was frightened, they were scared, they was going to try to run from them, they was going to go to the, they're going to move away. They're going to go someplace. And I'm like, oh, where are you going? I'm going to Florida. Oh, yeah, you're moving away, all right. Do you realize that they literally, quite literally, they're not sending you to prison. They're bringing the prison to you. So here you are, So whether you're in prison in Florida or anywhere else, listen, if you're being watched like that, you're going to be watched, Who gave them permission? Because everybody that I talk to says, well, I didn't do that. Okay, well, when are you going to get it in your head? Like I got this a long damn time ago. Actually, that's not true. I take that back. When I really got it into my head is the big wake up came. The final straw for me was before Trump, but I still was praying that we could make something work that will never ever work. It'll never work. Voting is such a sham scam by these demons. That's all a show. Now, what you're seeing is them argue. You see like a brother and a sister would fight amongst each other, you know what I mean? But then if you tried to break in on one of them, like say, oh, don't talk to her like that, or don't talk, well, they'd jump your ass, wouldn't they? They'd rip you apart. Because they all belong together. Because they all are together. They come from Skull and Bones. They come from what's Crimson Shields and all these other hidden little names that they give, their little club. But all that club is attached to is the same one. It goes right to the same demonic damn thing. Now, they turned you into a debt slave, which means in 1933 that you would put up and forfeit all of your land and everything as collateral. So when you go and you purchase your property, you're not actually purchasing your property. You are leasing a specific size of their property that they own. Okay, and when I say that, there's a catch-22 there. They don't really own it. It's not theirs. Nobody told anybody to sign any kind of deal like that. Nobody told them to switch out the United States, of America for U.S. Incorporated. I didn't give them permission. You didn't give them permission because you wasn't alive then. And I'm telling you, when you was born, we never gave them permission to put us on the stock market like you are. Your Social Security number is your stock number. That number goes with your straw man. There's a great big old branch there that we could go off to or whatever, but these literally see you as chattel. I'm saying chattel, not cattle, chattel. This is their name that come along, like all of this bullshit that they come up with, these names like Jade Helm. Anybody know what Jade Helm is? You will. Just like with the Noahide laws. Don't know what Noahide laws are? Don't go look at them. Don't look at them. Put your head in the sand, up your ass, whatever it is that you want to do. I don't give a shit, because I'm telling you right now, the more I talk to all of these Americans that was supposed to be Americans, right? Land of the brave, home of the free, land of the brave, whatever. I ain't seeing it. I don't see it. I think they didn't see it neither. I'm talking about the demonics. I think they have accomplished what they set out to do, which was absolutely denut all of us. And I hope that sounds vulgar, because it is vulgar what they've done. Actually, I'm not saying it nasty enough, and I don't really give a shit if you're offended, because there's no way offending somebody who clearly knows that there's children that's dying every day, and you literally can get on even YouTube or any of them, and you can watch what they're doing over in Gaza. Now, here's the thing. Here's what I am saying very clear, and this is what pissed me off so bad. Also, I should say, it's just another piece of the whole that what I'm aggravated about. But they have, like Palestine, like they literally are trying to wipe out Palestine. And you can go and look at Joe Fez or whatever that they just killed. Look it up. And because he said that he was putting together true information that was out there, like that came from the older Bibles and stuff, that literally says, you can read it for yourself, that Palestine was the place for Jesus and so on. I mean, you can go look up all that and for your own self. But my point that I want to point out here, I'm not saying Muslim are good. I'm not saying, or anything like that, because again, let me reiterate that if there's anybody that has a religion that they want to kill your children just because your children or you are not like they are, they're my enemy. What does that mean? That means that I pray to my Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son and to the Holy Ghost that they absolutely give me the strength and do with me whatever they need me to do, whether that would be to be offed or whatever, I so be it. But I know that if it offends me, then it definitely should offend anyone, because I don't want anything to happen to children. And we've literally watched what they think about children. And no matter what, if it would be Muslim, if it be a Jew or anything else, if it is a small child, why would you do that? Because the only way that somebody learns how to be demonic is if somebody showed them how to be demonic. If you come from 1933, then you jump to 1948 when they created the Israel hell, right? Why did they do that? Well, they bankrupted it. Now there's all this money being paid around and so on and so forth, right? But they know that even though they switched out U.S. and or the United States of America for U.S. Incorporated, that they haven't really laid that information out for you and I to figure that out yet. So they knew they was going to have to come up with some place where they could brainwash and indoctor the people to be as demonic, to be able to do what it is that they knew would be coming down later on in years, which is Americans have the right to keep and bear arms, right? That's a bunch of bullshit nowadays. Somebody saying that out there, I don't care if you got a gun or whatever, and you have a permit for that. Okay, you really have not a clue what freedom is, and you don't even know what the hell the Constitution is neither, which is a piece of toilet paper nowadays. You know, truly. I mean, we're literally watching Trump and the rest of them wipe their ass on it. We are standing up on the fence, looking at the damn White House, trying to get a glimpse of the rich, spoiled kids going in and out. You know, like, did you see Elon Musk? Elon Musk went in there. What's that? Oh, there's Tucker Carlson. What do you have in his hand? What that piece of paper say? You know what? What if we all just took our sticks and our little toys or whatever that we made ourselves, and we go off and say, you ain't getting no more of what we little rascals has got anymore. You know, anybody watch Hard Gang? Little Rascal? Anyway. You know, and then, that's another thing too. See, if you go back, look at any of your movies, especially nowadays, you can't find one where they don't take the Lord's name in vain. If you do, it is a very rare movie. Because at some point in time, some point in place, in that movie, they will take the Lord's name in vain. And they do that because they had come after Christianity. Okay? And I mean Christianity as in the sense of like when somebody doesn't want to harm another just because you believe a certain way. You know? Like I said, you know, if you want to go to yourself and do something, you know, there's actually, though very few, I got to tell you, you know, there's very few, but there are individuals that I know of that they don't believe in God, you know. They're agnostic. I didn't know what agnostic was or whatever. I had to look it up. I thought I had an understanding, but I wanted to make sure that I did. And that's really the key thing. We have to truly understand what it is that we're looking at here if we're to fight it, you know. But agnostic means there's not enough information to prove one way or the other that God exists or don't exist. That's that's what it says. You can't Google things and expect to get the truth, or you know, I have to go even further on that. Just don't even trust Google at all, because if it gives you any kind of information or something like that, remember it's always for nefarious reasons, you know. And anybody that's saying if you don't have anything to hide, why would you fear cameras, is listen to what I'm telling you, is your greatest enemy. That should be your greatest enemy. Because, you see, you have to learn what that word complicit really means. There's more to being complicit than what you even realize, okay? Because complicit is where you say nothing because you just think, I don't know what to say, or meh, you know, but that don't exempt you. If you're complicit, you're a part of it. If you're complicit, that means that you agree with it. if you're complicit, that's you saying yes. So stay silent. Don't say a thing. But when you see children dying and stuff and you haven't done something, you're complicit. I hope it offends you. I really do. I hope it does. You know what? I'm so shit tired of everybody that I encounter. All they want to do is just say, "Oh no, what are we going to do? Well, we got to run. We got to hide. We got to do this." How the hell are you going to hide? Where are you going to go to? What part of the world are you going to go to? Now, I'm going to tell you something. Behind the Veil, I watch him all the time. That guy is straight up amazing. I'm telling you. I recommend him. I still watch him. He's an amazing guy or whatever. And he is warning everybody, like the Bible says, come out of Babylon, come out of Babylon. And he did. He literally got his family and he went out of Babylon. I forget what country it was that he went to, but he travels and he's telling people about, the Lord and everything. And he's on there all the time. And he's not just saying something. I mean, he clearly is putting these videos together that I'm telling you are amazing, showing us what has actually happened. Like them shooting nuclear warheads and stuff out into the Atlantic Ocean. There was a treaty that was signed some years back or whatever that they couldn't do it, but it just expired. And the very day that it expired, Russia was firing these nukes off into the middle of the ocean or whatever and then he tells why, and he explains that, Leviathan and all that stuff, which is, I'll be honest with you, above my head, but that's why I watch him, because I'm trying to, watch, learn, listen, using my discernment the whole entire time, Listen, there was a reason why I didn't today or whatever. I wanted to call into the enemy, Dave Taylor and old Massey, Thomas Massey. Anybody know who Thomas Massey is? He is he's one of them. He's a government. So I already told you about government, the enemy. He's one of the enemies. In the enemy's regime here, they have created their own language that they speak, and it'll go over most people's heads. And you know what? You or I, that's out here trying to make our own way and do our own thing, live our own lives, like we don't want any of that stuff. We wanted to hire you so that you could take care of us. Well, here we are. We're getting what we asked for. Leave us alone. Go take care of things. Well, they're taking care of things the way that they want it. And now our ass is in this situation where we're at. And how you feeling? You feel safe? Do you feel good? Are you being taken care of? How many friends you got? Do you know that you're loved? Do you know you're cared for? Do you have to worry about if you wake up sick, whether or not somebody's going to come and want to be around you or not? No. Don't got none of that shit. Ain't no safety, no nothing, right? But on top of that, they say, well, here's what we'll do. We'll just encourage them people to go ahead and kill themselves. They do. Assisted death or whatever. What is it that Canada's got up there? Man, do I feel sorry for Canada. I feel sorry for us. I feel sorry for whoever, wherever you are. I really do. I'm praying for you. Praying for us, But I'm telling you, we done this to ourselves. Ain't nobody else to blame except for ourselves. If I had, there's been very few people who really, really genuinely that I felt give a damn about me through my life, and I'm not even kidding about that. I could probably count them on one hand and have 4 fingers left over. But those individuals, would be the ones who genuinely would want you to be okay, would want to take care of you, But is that what we have created? Is that you know, but what I was going to say, that those people